Is it time to admit that the Leafs just aren't very good?
Hi, welcome to the Panago Pizza Steve Dangle podcast.
Oh, great, man.
I'm Jesse Blake.
Panago Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go! If you live generously, life will treat you royally. Well, at least life will. Maybe sports won't. Why not put yourself in a friend of Crown Royal? Because we're going to talk about who wore the crown, where we, with the help of you, recognize one Leaf player each game, each show, who gives it their all for the blue and white, because it's our town, it's our crown, and it's not about what you have, but what you have to give. Let's crown a Leaf that lives generously by giving it all for the team. Brought to you by our friends at Crown Royal. Live generously and life will treat you royally. Let's get into it, and I have to tell you, that would be a lot easier to say if they were winning. Mm-hmm. Now, there are bright spots on this team.
Yes.
And there are players that are improving over the first 10 games.
Yes.
With that said, last night, and I think this is we've had two games, Columbus and last night against Boston. There are two games to pick from. Mm-hmm. There are, based on those two performances, who are you picking?
I want you to go first.
Well, my pick's going to be Kasperi Kapanen.
That's why I asked you to go first.
Okay.
I was picking between two guys, and he was one of them.
Okay, well, he's got 8 points in 7 games, I believe, this season. And this is a guy that did not start well, if I'm not mistaken.
Or, wait, since the switch? He's played in more than 7 games.
Okay, I am wrong.
He has 3 goals, though. He scored his first even-strength goal last night.
I think it's since the switch.
Yeah. His first even-strength goal, because his first 2 were shorthanded, which also gives him the league lead in shorthanded goals.
It hasn't been 7 games since the switch, but the guy's got 8 points in 11 games for a guy that supposedly struggled and did not score an even-strength goal until last night. You know, that...
There you go.
This is a guy that was taken out of a role that he was not meant to be playing anyway. Taken out of a role that he was great at, put in a role he was not meant to be playing in. People crapped on him. He made 2 of the biggest paid stars on the team frustrated. They put him back in his normal role, and oh wow, he's pretty good.
He earned the right to fail, though.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I thought he deserved that spot, and it didn't work. Mm-hmm. Oh well. And now he's on the third line, and on the penalty kill, he looks fantastic. That's where he should be.
Yep.
That's where he should be. We know he can fill in on the top 6. Probably shouldn't be there full time.
But he's 4th in team scoring.
Hilarious.
Like he's got 1 more point than Nylander.
Yeah, he's not the most versatile player in the world, but he's good.
If Kasperi Kapanen continued to score at this rate, he'd have like 67 points.
His contract would be a hell of a bargain.
Absolute steal. Absolute steal. So this
scoring's not the problem.
No, it's not. And you know what? Same can be said for Andreas Johnsson, another guy that signed a good contract based on his skill this year. Mm-hmm. He's got 7 points in 11 games. He's not bad.
Playing real well. I want to dump on him for the penalties, which have been an issue going back to his Marlies days. That roughing call was shocking.
So who would you give the crown to, and why?
He was a throw-in piece. There's no way he's going to fill the shoes he's meant to fill. He's not even a full-time center. And guess what? He's second in the Leafs in goal scoring. Alexander Kerfoot. He's got 4 goals. Isn't that amazing? That's second on the Leafs in goals. Matthews has 8.
Yep. Yep.
But Kasperi Kapanen, when he scored the first goal of the game last night, this is from Statsman Stan Narodka from Ice Surfing. When Kapanen scored his 3rd, which was before Kerfoot's 4th, that put Kapanen into a 7-man tie for second on the team in goals.
Yeah.
Wow. 7 different people had 3. But Kerfoot, holy smokes, that guy can skate. He can forecheck. He's a gritty little bastard, and he can put the puck in the net for a guy who's not supposed to really be a shooter. I'd like him to be better at the other end of the ice. He's a guy who maybe needs to work on discipline a bit, but what a pleasant surprise, Alexander Kerfoot.
Don't
Alex,
share.
I had to do it.
Don't share your sentences.
It felt right. And now we go to Jesse Blake.
Jesse, go ahead.
I think Willie would tell you he's feeling way better than he was at this time last year.
Probably is.
I think he was on a beach in Sweden at this time last year. So just being at the rink is a step in the right direction.
Did you write that down?
I think that quote
Oh.
is from Mike Babcock,
Oh.
Who still talks?
who still talks.
Yeah, it's good. I'm always like, oh, good, he's talking.
Let's give Willie the crown this week for being here on this continent. Because last year we couldn't say that.
One of the 7 guys tied with 3 goals.
One of the 7 guys died with 3 goals.
Well,
That's a
6
good
now.
point. Okay, well, that is Who Wore the Crown for this week. Brought to you by our friends at Crown Royal. Next time the puck drops, why not live generously and treat your Leafs crew royally with a Crown Royal Old Fashioned. Now, let me ask you this.
Is it why not? Is that the question?
What is the biggest issue in Toronto right now? I'm going to give you 2 options. Or what is the bigger issue? Is the bigger issue Mike Babcock, or is the bigger issue Freddie Anderson?
Or traffic.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
That
Traffic.
one.
In Toronto, it's probably
Traffic's
traffic.
a rough thing.
Yeah.
I'm more speaking about the Leafs, but I mean, yeah, traffic's an issue
okay.
we can get into
Okay.
later. A super exciting topic as it is.
Yeah, but like they're closing another exit at the Gardner. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
Listen, people don't need to get places here.
No.
So here's what I'm asking: is Mike Babcock the problem, or is Freddie Anderson the problem? What's the bigger problem?
The Leafs PDO is extremely bad. PDO being the sort of luck stat. It's 983. That should turn around. They don't look good.
Let me talk
Like,
about. Let me just talk about a couple teams.
Sorry, I'm defensive this morning.
That's this afternoon. We've
This
already
afternoon.
crossed over, and you know what? That's okay.
Second straight day
morning.
I've done that to someone.
Here's a couple other teams that are struggling, wobbly out of the gates.
Sure.
Washington Capitals. Been a bit wobbly.
They don't look great, eh?
They've been trying a new system, and it's a lot more. Evidently, it's a lot more offense based, and I guess it's led to just, according to Elliot Friedman in his 31 Thoughts, which came out like an hour ago. Like it's led to just some spectacular goals against because they've allowed. They're just.
Oh, yeah.
It's a system they're adjusting to. They seem to be working it out, but they're not quite there. So they've hung
And
Braden.
4.
Huh?
Did they win
I don't know.
last night?
Yeah, they're also first in their division.
Sure.
So,
Totally.
Really?
yeah.
However, Braden Holtby and another team that sort of wobbled out of the gate.
They've
Tampa
also won
Bay
4 in a row.
with Andrei Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
Are both worse off than what Freddie Anderson's seen. Now, there's a goals saved above expectation chart from chartinghockey.ca. You should check it out. Sean Tierney's his site. I'm going to talk to you about just a couple of guys that are doing really, really well right now. And thank God Steve made me draft one of them in my Fantrax Corsi Hockey League.
You know what? I don't know a lot, but I did get this one right.
The most relative to shots faced. Basically, it's a look at how goalies are performing relative to shot quality faced, not quantity. Darcy Kemper, 3rd in the league based on shot quality.
Who knew? Who knew? Like
You
2
did.
years ago, I was like, who is this guy? Well, I knew, but I was like, he's not a very good goalie.
Markstrom in Vancouver, he's 4th. Mike Smith in Edmonton.
Get out!
I know. You know why? I warned you, Pittsburgh, because we made fun of Mike Smith on the first Saturday of the season.
Shit,
and
you're
look
right.
at him.
You're right.
He is 2nd in goals saved above expectation. And this is several weeks in now.
Wow.
Number
Wow.
1, who is the guys, based on relative shot quality faced saves, that whole thing, based on that, who do you think is the top performing goalie on this chart?
I'm going to say Carter Hutton.
Carter Hutton. Jesse, it doesn't matter. Wild stab in the dark.
Out of every goalie in the National Hockey League?
Yeah, most like starters.
Tuukka Rask.
Amazing that you both said those names. Because Carter Hutton is 5th and Tuukka Rask is 6th.
Oh,
Okay, not too bad.
Doing great. Doing really great.
Okay.
Number 1 is Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And
so
it's by
you're...
an almost 20% chunk. The guy's doing really, really well.
Wow.
So you look at how Vegas has done, and usually you look at how a team has done, and a lot of it can be pointed at, and it's not necessarily because of, but a lot of it can be pointed to goaltending. Now, there's a frustration with Mike Babcock that we're going to talk about. And there's been a frustration with Mike Babcock, I would argue, going back to the first Boston series in recent memory, not the 2013 one. But with Freddie Anderson not standing on his head all the time, and the Leafs allowing more goals than, technically speaking,
They ought to
They
be.
should. If that evens out, a lot of those problems are solved.
Yeah.
Yep, sure. Don't give up 3-goal leads to Montreal. And
Yeah, like
2-goal leads
but
to
that's a Michael
Washington.
Hutchinson thing. That was Michael Hutchinson.
he was in net, for sure.
So, okay. So then talk to me. Because here's the thing.
They're capable of playing in front of him.
Sure.
They've given him multi-goal leads in 2 of the 3 games he started. They're capable of playing in front of him. What was it about the Montreal game that caused them to give up 4 goals in a very short amount of time? And what was it about the Washington game that caused them to give up 4 goals in a very short amount of time? Like, the only sin I've really seen Michael Hutchinson commit, besides that second goal last night in Boston, is he's not a starting goaltender. But for what was expected of him, for the low bar expected of him, I think he's been okay.
Yeah.
And I am not going to blame it all on him. I'm not going to blame it on him for being put in the worst position possible. He's played well enough, honestly. Who knows? Maybe the Leafs pick up 6 of 6 in the 3 back-to-backs so far on the front half. He hasn't been bad.
Well, that Tyson Barrie miscue last
That
night
was terrible.
Horrible.
And also, he's one of the worst puck-handling goalies I think I've
So
ever
why does
seen in my
he-
entire
he
life.
knows he is.
He's also had some rebound control. Like
Yeah,
there's
most-
situations where Boston got like 4 shots off of 1 shot because
Yeah.
he couldn't control the puck.
Including one that got called back because the offside rule is really good.
Right. Where that should have definitely been a goal.
It's a goal.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It was a Boston goal.
Yeah, and that was
Like,
on Hutchison there, I would
Yep.
have said.
Yep. Listen, he's not great,
No.
but I think he's been okay.
Yeah.
I think he's been okay. So, like, okay. Here's what I'm wrestling with, because today I featured that tweet from Dom Lucian about the Leafs PDO.
And what it says, it's a 983. And I don't know
983.
what does that mean for those of us who are...
Well, you're supposed to be around 1,000.
Okay.
Maybe a little. I feel like it. Well, actually, no. I was going to say I feel like it's gone up because goal scoring went up last year, but that's not true. Shooting percentage, I think, went up, and save percentage went down.
Right.
So that would still make it about even. Am I allowed to believe in analytics and magic at the same time?
Sure. Hockey's is a chaotic game. I don't understand, or I don't see why that wouldn't be a problem.
Well, it's just.
Because here's the thing. You look at Buffalo, for instance. We mentioned them earlier. Toronto and Florida are both among the worst teams in the league right now in goals against per 60 minute. Toronto is averaging 3.2 goals against. Florida is 3. So Bobrovsky's just had a brutal start. You look at a team
Yeah.
like Buffalo, they're allowing goals against per 60 right now, 1.6. Now, I know it's
Wow.
early, but that's enough
That's
of a
a crazy
sample size.
number, yeah.
That's, to me, that's where the issue lies. Now, you could say it's Freddie Anderson, you could say it's Michael Hutchinson, you could say it's team defense, whatever. But there's an issue there on the defense, right?
Sure, totally. And here's what I mean about magic. You could watch Buffalo last year in November and go, this is a PDO bender. This is not magic.
Well, 7 of those 10 games were overtime wins.
Yeah. You could look at it definitively and go, this is a hot streak. This is not magic. This will come to an end. I didn't think it would come to as abrupt of an end as
I
it
thought
did.
they were in the playoffs for sure.
I mean, it looked like it for a while. I thought they'd be able to at least ride that to a playoff spot. I didn't think they'd be one of the bottom 3 teams in the league after they won 10 straight games.
Right.
The Islanders were magic last year. People kept calling for the regression to come. It's going to happen. And after a while, I watched that team and I said, no, it isn't. No, and you can go, well, they got swept. Yeah, in round 2 of the playoffs. Like, and I would say it was actually a closer series than the 4 games suggested. So, magic can work in reverse. Poison. It's poison. It was the St. Louis Blues of last year. That team seemed poisoned. And
There is something
they
that
found the
feels-
antidote.
There is something that feels that way with the Leafs. There is something that feels...
It's poisoned.
Why do you say it's poison? What do you think the cause of that is? Where's it coming from?
It's like a car running on the type of gas it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I just see a team. the puck, when it gets in their end, is there to stay. They're constantly blowing assignments. They don't look like... The Boston Bruins, when they hit the ice, look like they just broke out of Arkham Asylum. They are vicious. They try their hardest every shift. And they look like they want to be there. They look like they're excited. They love being Boston Bruins. I just don't see that with the Leafs. Now, here, I want to clear up something I'd said real quick. The Blues found the antidote. Yeah, the antidote was a new coach, but it was also
Jordan Binnington.
League average goaltending.
Yeah.
And slightly above league average
anybody
goaltending.
on paper could have seen the St. Louis Blues were a three-line deep team up front and at least two deep on the on defense. Like, you knew.
You can make an album of my greatest hits of screw-ups on this show, but one thing I said that summer was the Blues had the best summer of anyone, and they were, I think, my pick for the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm. But then you look at the Leafs and you say anybody who looks at the Leafs on paper sees they have a top 6 core that can compete with anybody in the NHL. Yeah. What's happening? And then maybe they just get together. It's 11 games.
The problem is that, I mean, and thank God they're about 500. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're Bettman 500 or
5-4-2. I don't know what that means.
So it's just a little under.
Well, one game under literal 500.
It's like being a 5 for 5.
Wait, no, they have 6 wins, don't they?
I don't know.
No, 5-4-2.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Elliot Friedman in his column today. 31 thoughts. Number 3 was the point. And by the way, of course, the headline had to do with Toronto because that's clicks, baby.
Cool.
It is tense in Toronto. You could see the organization was curious how things would transpire with an injured John Tavares and his calming influence. They are 1-1-1, but it simply doesn't look right. In last year's playoffs, during the 3 games in Toronto, Patrice Bergeron had 35 even-strength minutes and saw Tavares 31 of them. Coach Mike Babcock gave us something fun last Saturday at home against the Bruins, a solid taste of Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews' combo, the second most ice time of Matthews' career, and 11-24 against Bergeron at even strength. Bracket. In a rematch Tuesday in Boston, Bruins coach Bruce Cassidy showed he wasn't afraid of keeping it that way. I love that Mike Babcock made the challenge, but you can see he's not ready to trust this full time, especially when riddled with the kinds of mistakes that came Monday against Columbus. As of Wednesday, Matthews has taken just 17 defensive zone draws, winning 29% of them, one of which led directly to a Blue Jackets goal on Monday night. The improving Freddie Gauthier has taken 66, Nick Short 62, and both are at about 60% win rate. You can understand why Babcock is doing it this way. He's got to win games in a much tighter division, and he believes prime time is earned, not given. That's not wrong. But I wonder if these times call for something different. In Winnipeg, Patrick Laine clamored for more responsibility, and the Jets made him a deal. Fine, but we'll take it away if you don't compete hard enough to make it work. Laine got the message, and the early season difference is noticeable. In Edmonton, the ice time for Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid is probably unsustainable, but the two have accepted the challenge, and it is a big reason for the start of the season, which feels much more promising than last. Toronto's cap situation means their top players have to be the drivers, as both Babcock and Matthews indicated after the Boston loss. Is it time to fully unleash them and challenge them to make the necessary improvements without sheltering? And there was a long lead up to that, but that last question I think is really important, and I'd like to kind of get into that. Here's the thing:
I know I'm not being very helpful, but
how will if Austin, because Mike Babcock keeps bringing up Jonathan Toews as an example for Austin Matthews, and I'm sorry, I don't see that. I don't see that, and I've never seen that. Like, it's a nice idea, but first off, Matthews is a incredible goal scorer. That's what he does. Jonathan Toews
is the touch of death.
Yeah, Jonathan Toews is not that guy, and I don't think that's an insult. It's just he's a different player. Jonathan Toews has so many great qualities. Great defensively, great on faceoffs, Stanley Cup winner 3 times. Like, there's so many things great you can say about Jonathan Toews. But if you're trying to take Austin Matthews and put him in the Jonathan Toews box, are you asking a fish to climb a tree?
I mean, maybe. I think they're trying to develop him into something it'd be awesome for him to develop into, which is what's wrong with having Patrice Bergeron? You know what I mean?
It'd be great.
Patrice Bergeron, but a better goal scorer. Like, that sounds like the best damn player in the league.
But if the player and I think
It's fun to dream, is what I'm saying.
Berkey's right when he says, offense is inspiration, defense is perspiration. And you could see that in the way Matthews plays defense. He's not very good. And you know what? He blows assignments all the time. Doesn't try.
And the spin around pass through the center after was it Pasternak who baited Matthews around the boards and then did the spin around pass right through the middle? Like, that was embarrassing.
So
and that was replayed 1,000 times in the last 12
So
hours.
what is it? Like we look at, Leafs can't beat the Bruins or whatever.
The Bruins are like, they're not even just in the Leafs' heads, they're a part of their souls now.
Oh my God. Mike Babcock cannot beat Bruce Cassidy.
No, Bruce Cassidy's got his number.
Yep. So, like that's what it is.
No,
like,
but beyond that, forget the Bruins for a second. Because, listen, the Bruins game is the Bruins game. Those same issues existed in the Columbus game. And I'm not talking just about Matthews. That Marner giveaway that led to the Riley Nash goal is so unbelievably unacceptable. And I could see...
He was responsible for 2 of the 4 goals.
Yes, he was, because the other one was the penalty shot, which was the end of the game.
Yep.
Mitch Marner has a bad game. Austin Matthews has a bad game. Often when players sign big contracts, they come back and they squeeze the stick too tight. I'm thinking the last 2 prime examples I can think of are Gaudreau and Monahan in Calgary. They had a really rough next season because of the pressure that's on you. However, at what point do you just go, these are my stars, and I'm going to ride or die with them?
Never. Absolutely never.
Tell me how it benefits the Leafs to have Nick Shore and Freddie Gauthier taking defensive zone faceoffs when you're trying to develop Austin Matthews into quote-unquote Jonathan Toews. You got to let him do it.
Tell me how it benefits the Leafs to continue to employ a coach that has shown 0 growth over half a decade.
So that's my question to you now.
No growth. He doesn't change. He does what he does. And listen, tactics are a huge part of it. This team doesn't look thrilled playing for Mike Babcock. And everyone goes, oh, well, Ken Hitchcock was like that. But, people didn't like playing for him. People didn't like playing for Scotty Bowman. How dare you? We're not talking about the same people.
Scotty Bowman's the winningest coach of all time.
Yeah. Like, do we think Craig Berube is the most brilliant coach in the entire National Hockey League? Or do we think he got one of the best teams on paper to play like it? Just make him feel good.
Look at Rob Brindamore.
Make him feel good. Make him excited to show up to the rink every day. Make them want to impress you. Make them want to impress you. Not be afraid of letting you down. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's 2 management styles in the world, right?
Or no.
No, leave it. Stay on that for a second.
No,
the management styles.
I almost had it.
It's I actually researched this. There are management styles that inspire, and there are management styles that scare. The scare style can get people to 80 or 90%, but it will actually over time erode down to like further and further down because the message loses its value.
And their roster is getting better, and the effort is getting worse.
If you inspire humans, it's just the way we work. If you're an inspirational leader, harder to do, you can actually get more out of people. That's a proven fact.
I misspoke.
Look at Rod Brindamore, Carolina.
Craig Berube, Rod Brindamore, those players are afraid of letting them down. Mike Babcock, they're afraid of fucking up. If you mess up, you're done. I'm going to be taken away from the guy who I want to play with. If you're Jason Spezza, you're out of the lineup. Your career's over. For God's sake, Babcock is a career ender for guys at the end of their career. Unless your name is Patrick Marleau. Then you get sent to San Jose and your career is rejuvenated anyway.
You contemplated this during your LFR. What was it? The Columbus one? And you
I'm
asked...
so sore, by the way, from the plumber bit. I tore my body apart.
Right. And the question when people think about firing Mike Babcock is always, okay, but what do you replace him with? Because all of the answers to that question aren't ideal. It's not Keefe. It's not any of the assistants. It's not anybody from the outside. So why are you changing him if there's no better resolution?
Well, what I said in the previous video is, well, what are you going to do? You're going to risk screwing up the development system and the NHL team by throwing Sheldon Keefe into that role. And I was talking to Jason York about it. And I go, I said the same thing. Mm-hmm. I go, how are you going to screw up your AHL team and your NHL team. Like, when was the last time a team called up their AHL coach mid-season and had any kind of success? And he goes, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe if it's obvious, it's obvious. Maybe if the path is clear, the path is clear. Dude, April we knew Kyle Dubas didn't want this coach anymore. What are we doing?
Are we sure about that?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Like,
So
come on. Like,
the story from the inside the organization, from what I've heard anyway, is that Kyle Dubas...
And Carlton told you this.
Carlton the Bear.
Yeah,
That's right.
I gave up.
Sorry, yeah. We can't give
Damn it.
giving up
We'll
these
edit
sources.
it out.
The story that we were told that this is not... By the way, this is not a not published rumor.
Yeah.
Story was...
we saw the video.
Dubas went to management in some sort of capacity, upper management, and said, we got to make a change here. And they said, no, this guy's got 4 years left on his deal. He is a winning coach. We've made the playoffs the last 3 years. We got to give it one more.
Ooh. Oh, so that's the bar.
So
the bar is finally what we always accused the Leafs of wanting years ago. Making the playoffs is fine.
I think what they thought
Is that it?
What the argument could have been on the other side is, listen, it's 2 Game 7s. They lost 2 Game 7s.
Okay.
A puck bounces another way. You play a little harder for 20 minutes. It's a different story.
It's a different story. Jake Gardner doesn't lose his fucking mind.
Nazem Kadri doesn't be
lose
a
his fucking
fucking
mind.
idiot.
Yeah. Think about all the things that had to go wrong for the Leafs to lose those series.
It's hockey. If you
Freddie
want,
Anderson forgets how to goaltend in the first round.
it's
of the
hockey.
time.
It's hockey.
Steve
if you
sits on
want
a
the
different
perfect
part of the
scenario, you're never going to get it.
I get that. But I can see how, from a Leafs management perspective, if you're looking at this and you're going, okay, hold on a second. I know everyone's hot, but 2 Game 7s, I can understand that point of view.
And
Listen,
that's why you have upper management
Yes.
to temper things.
Sure.
Yes, and I don't
Hasn't
disagree
stopped
with
Bruce
it.
Boudreau from getting fired.
I don't disagree with it. But I think at the 20 game mark, if this continues, by the way, I believe the Leafs in 2019, and I think I might have said this last episode, are about 500.
It's something like 22 or 25, 22 and something.
January through right now.
Yeah.
In terms of
That's
regular season,
to me, that's fireable.
Yeah,
That's
well,
100% fireable.
And you can go like, I'm sorry, no, like Gardner got hurt, and Dermott got hurt. Like, holy shit, should Dermott be asking for $10 million? Because apparently this guy is the most valuable player on the team. Mm-hmm. Like, for real, they're not good enough, Adam. They're not good enough, and they're eroding over time, like you said.
I look at it like this. Nick Shore is probably not going to be a Leaf next year, right?
Might not be a Leaf next week.
Why is Nick Shore taking 60 defensive zone faceoffs? To me, it's still a development. There's still development. And I know Mike Babcock's probably trying to win games and that sort of thing. But if I'm looking at the division, by the time Matthews is the same age as Marchand and Bergeron, those guys are going to be probably on the real back end of their careers.
Marchand wasn't Marchand until he was in his mid to late 20s.
Right. Mm-hmm. So these guys, like Matthews, until this season, Matthews was the youngest player on the team for 3 years.
Marchand's breakout year was 2016-17. It was the World Cup.
One of the best things about Sidney Crosby is that every offseason he takes something different. He focuses on that, and he comes back the next year and he nails it. Sidney Crosby had like 12 off seasons to focus on different things. Matthews has had like 2.
Yeah.
You got to give these guys time to develop.
And I think it's a huge mistake to take them out of situations where they're going to fail, because sometimes you need to fail until you succeed. Mm-hmm. And I like when you first start skating, Steve, you first started playing. What happened to you when you first started skating regularly?
I fell down and hurt myself a lot, and then I realized the importance of shin and elbow pads.
Agreed. Okay, so you put your shin and elbow pads on, you kept skating.
He put them on the wrong way.
Put them on the wrong way.
And then a professional hockey player had to tell him they were on the wrong way.
That's a thing
true.
that literally happened.
Very few NHL players will tell you, but Mark Savard did.
Yeah. I wonder how many saw it first and went, look at this fucking moron.
I think Savvy's one of those guys who's like really weird about equipment too.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
He has a YouTube channel about it.
He's weird about that, yeah. Used to. Now he's an assistant coach, you see.
Yes.
But
Sorry.
But I think my point in this is that at a certain point, your stars are who they are. You've signed them. Now it's time to just go, this is the role. Do it. Get better at it.
Who's this team's captain?
And why are we line matching on when it's if the choice is Austin Matthews and Nick Shore? Who am I giving the defensive zone?
Are you talking about overtime?
No, well,
or
we'll
just
get
in
to
general?
the overtime.
Okay.
But why is Nick Shore getting a defensive zone face-off when Austin Matthews could be in there learning it?
Because Babcock's in charge. He's in charge.
And why are we, for that record, since Jesse brings it up, why are we line matching in overtime?
Fuck.
Why are we allowing...
Oh, my God. Like 3-on-3 hockey.
Why are we
Holy.
allowing another team to put their best players out, especially Columbus? And we're going to...
Literally letting them dictate the play.
We're not going to try to we're going to try to defend that, something we're bad at, instead of just going Matthews, Marner, Riley, and then following it up with Nylander, Barry, Kapanen. Like, Columbus can't touch that.
The Leafs have burners. We can talk about like blown defensive assignments and responsible. 3-on-3 is wee.
Yes.
And the Leafs have God knows how many lines of 3-on-3 wee. You can throw on 3 forwards. It's not the same fucking thing. It's ridiculous, silly fun time. It is a hair above the shootout.
If you're making a case to fire Mike Babcock, you probably put that at the top, and then you probably put Matthews' Game 7 ice time next to that.
I put in Mike Babcock's entire Game 7 last.
It was the worst game.
Sid Sixero made such a good point,
He
and
got
I agree
fed
with
by
it.
Cassidy
he
again.
He said Mike Babcock has coached his last game in Toronto, and he should have. That should have been probably it, because when you get out coached like that. When you get a coach like that, and Boston fans, you guys know, you saw it. You guys walked all over it. Like, it was just, it was not even fair. And I just look at it and think, how can you like, I get that the Leafs have bad PDO. I get that Freddie Anderson hasn't been up to snuff. I get that they've had back-to-backs. I get all that. You know what good teams do? They win. You know what Tampa Bay does or did last season? They fucking won, at least in the regular season. Let's start with that. Forget the playoffs. How about we just jockey ourselves into winning 2 out of 3 of every game? You know, that's the problem I have. And if we get to Game 20, and if this continues, which it can't, and they're 500 at Game 20, there has to be a change. But then the question becomes, who, what, how?
Yeah.
Who are you going to change?
Well,
who's going to take over?
Sometimes I think, like, we've talked about this before. We've mocked this before. I'm not totally sure it matters that much. I think it just can't be this guy anymore.
Change for the sake of change?
Change for the sake of change, but, like, that's what every coach hiring and firing has been forever. It's a reset. You hopefully get someone in there who the players actually want to play for. And I bet that would be Sheldon Keefe. The Marlies are friends.
Pat Quinn.
They won for him.
Pat Quinn was a Vancouver Canucks coach in the early 90s when they were very good. And he was a Leafs coach in the late 90s when they were very good. Pat Quinn was one of the worst line matching coaches ever.
He wasn't a brilliant tactician.
In fact, I used to say his assistant, Rick Lee, knew the people around him, and this is just what I've heard, have said, and I know people that were a part of that staff, and they said, there were very few people we knew that knew less about hockey than Rick Lee.
That's aggressive.
That's super
aggressive statement. But Rick Lee and Rick Lee and Pat Quinn were friends, and Rick Lee obviously knew something about hockey. He was an assistant coach,
obviously.
But Pat Quinn didn't want young guys. All the young guys were shipped out. Brought in these veteran guys who are already fully developed. And that was a problem. However, what he did was, here are my stars. I'm going to let them play, and my job is to motivate them.
Who won best? Remember they did that player poll? Who's best assistant coach in the NHL?
And they said DJ Smith?
DJ Smith.
Did he?
Who was extraordinarily not the best assistant coach.
No, he's just the popular.
NHL. They liked him. You don't think that was a shot across the bow? We're going to pick this right. We're going to pick this. DJ Smith makes his players feel good. They like him. They don't like this guy. They don't. You're never going to get the best out of your team with Mike Babcock as your head coach. Not in 2019. That was 10 years ago. His last cup was 10 years ago.
Detroit fans are going, oh, we told you.
Yep.
And there were things that Mike Babcock did at the beginning to help change the culture that were great.
He played his role. We're done.
Is the role played out?
Yeah, it's like old John Tortorella. where he used to be 3 years and done. And then he evolved. Look at John Tortorella, still in the game. And, like, his players will die for him. They love him.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed. It's different. He's evolved. Babcock, it's not the same.
But you wouldn't make the firing today.
Sure it would.
I think you better listen. If you're going to pitch that to Brendan Shanahan, you better be sure.
Right.
And so this is where
He already has.
I get it.
It's Brendan's mistake.
So here's where it all falls on Kyle, because Kyle had the Wonderkin label the second they hired him. He had a great draft in 2015 with Mark Hunter. You can debate who had control of what, but they did it together and they did a great job. He's had great picks with. I think Dave Morrison deserves some credit for that.
For sure.
There's the Sandin pick was great. The Muzzin trade has turned out to be awesome.
Yeah.
Really, truly. The Barry trade, I still think will work out. It's just you got to use the guy properly.
He's not on the fucking power play.
I know.
Like,
But beyond all that,
There's been 2 bad negotiations.
there have been
Can't
two
exclude that.
really rough negotiations. Yeah, I don't think I think with Matthews they paid him what they should have. I think with Marner they absolutely. I think the agent won, and I think he did. I think he just did.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of the situation is, if this is a thing that Kyle Dubas wants to do, the clock starts ticking on him the second Mike Babcock goes.
I don't think he cares.
He shouldn't, but I'm just saying, if he doesn't have success this year and doesn't have success next year, Dubas will also be gone.
Yeah.
You got to stake your career on something.
That's fine. And if he brings in a coach that works out, he's bought himself God knows how many more years.
100%. And if they win the cup, he gets a statue.
He bought
I
him
get
the
it.
rest of his life.
I'm just and but I am saying those are the stakes here, right?
That's fine. But the power structure is all fucked. The power structure is all fucked. Like, John Tavares is the captain, and that's wonderful. Who's in charge of the Boston Bruins? Who's their leader?
Patrice Bergeron.
Patrice Bergeron, Zdeno Chara,
Marchand.
that whole top line. That's who runs the Boston Bruins.
Sure.
And what Babcock does, night in, night out, he is in charge. He's still the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Tavares wears that C. It's like it's a Letterman jacket. Like, Mike Babcock is the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The C is for show. The A's are for show. Dubas wanted to fire that coach. Wasn't allowed to. So what is he, special assistant to the president? The power structure's fucked. Let the GM, let the captain, and get them a coach they want to play for. That's what it is, right? Like, when I am out of shit to say, you're fucked.
Yeah.
When I'm out of stuff to say, it's obvious. It's been obvious. Make a change. Make a change. Unless none of us know anything about hockey and this roster actually sucks on paper or something.
It's interesting. The first time I felt the way I feel now watching the Leafs was January 2017. And if you remember, that was going into, I believe, was it 2018? Going into the first Boston series, whenever that would have been. 2018. They had played, they had gotten into the playoffs the year before against Washington. They were kind of everybody's favorite young team. Like, everybody's like, hey, go Leafs. That's great. Good for you. And then, they had come out and, had bizarre games against New York, where it was like 8-5 or whatever.
That was the home opener.
And, craziness. And then all of a sudden in January, there was this lockdown thing. And I can remember doing our show.
December.
Mm-hmm. And was it December? And then we started.
How could I forget?
We started watching. We're like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah, because the captain
hockey.
told him.
Yeah,
because the captain said the puck only goes through Roman Polak, and he only slap passes it up the ice for an icing. That's what Captain Mike said.
And then last year they start on fire again. It's like, whoa, look at this. This is fun. And then again, they go from January to March in that first year. Boring as shit. Then they got to play Boston, and they got to pull themselves out of that funk. Last year, same thing. January to March, April. Boring as shit. Not looking particularly strong. Oh, they're missing Jake Gardner. Well, you're right, Steve. Maybe they should have paid Jake Gardner Mitch Marner money.
Dude, like, if you want an excuse, you'll always find one.
That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be injuries. The schedule is always going to suck. You're always going to have back-to-backs. You're always going to have tough months like this. I'm sorry. Like, Travis Dermott being out of the lineup should not yard sale your season. Yeah, Gardner was hurt too. Well, it's tight. And it was fucking I don't care. I don't care.
They had a playoff spot locked up in January. It wasn't that tough.
No.
Don't care.
The same playoff spot they're in right now, by the way.
Oh, are they still in third?
Yeah.
Somehow.
Still in third, behind Boston. They'd play Boston in the first round. They wouldn't have home ice. Same thing.
And they lose again.
Well, at this
100%.
point, yeah.
100%.
They get outcoached again.
Yeah.
Bruce Cassidy fucking knows. He does. Full marks. I'm just at the point
We
now.
haven't even complained about officiating.
I'm trying to think about other things. I'm trying to look about. I don't want to complain about officiating. I'm done complaining about officiating. Who cares?
Play around that.
Yeah.
I want to talk
We
about
know
what
it's going to be
You want an
bad.
excuse, you'll always find one.
Yeah, and Boston. Forget the Boston game. Look at the Columbus game.
Terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Against a not good team.
It was
And the
2 goals
strength-
on 2 shots, was it not?
Yeah.
Yes, but
and they're big.
what was Freddie supposed to do on either of
But
them?
then that's the defense in front of him.
Yes.
You know, it's ridiculous.
That's why I'm not worried about Freddie. Freddie's letting a couple stinkers, but like
But goalies do.
Yeah.
goalies do sometimes.
You can't have a 0 save percentage. And be down 2-0.
No. But like, what on earth was Mitch doing? What on earth was Austin doing? And also Martin Marincin. Well, how are you getting bullied by a guy half your size, Martin?
Do you see the
why don't
Kolyakovo tweet?
No.
Oh, with him standing on the red line? I tweeted
what
him
happened?
to
What happened?
Cam Atkinson skated across the crease, and what he did was he sort of like grabbed Marincin by the hip and dragged him backwards. Marincin applies no resistance whatsoever, so he's just in the net. He's the goalie now. And Freddie can't do anything.
Can you show
and
me
everyone's
this?
talking about
I'm pulling it up right now.
everyone
It's
was
the
talking
most-
about
the
Matthews
dumbest
blowing
thing.
his assignment on Dubois, which he did, but he's playing against a guy with no goalie pads. And it made matters much easier. Yo, look at that!
Unplugged it.
Wow.
Look at that! And there's Matthews not catching up with Dubois, but like,
What's Anderson supposed to do there? He can't move.
if Marincin was wearing another jersey, it'd be goalie interference.
Yeah.
And you could argue it was because, I don't know, Atkinson's the one who pulled him in. For God's sake, apply some resistance with your skates.
Yeah, I think that we got to turn the page on Martin Marincin.
Yeah, that's a Dubas one.
Yeah, it is.
I don't care how cheap he is and how useful he is at certain things. Stop it. Not gonna. Kevin Gravel played one game in a loss, and I was like, yeah, no, better. For sure. You know?
Yeah, it was great.
And I've been a Marty apologist since he got here, when they finished last.
Yeah.
Was he second longest tenured Leaf?
Yeah, probably.
It's
Behind Morgan
unbelievable.
Riley. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Or in the Leafs organization.
That's the like. There's so much not going right, but here's the question then. So the Leafs fire Mike Babcock and they bring in a coach. Mm-hmm. Is that coach going to be able to coach?
I think so.
Won't allow the GM to GM. Will the coach coach?
God, I hope so. I don't know. We'll see.
No. Is Kyle Dubas going to step in and go, no, find a use for Marty Marincin?
Oh, good point. Well, see, if it's Keefe, right, who they bring in, I think he would, because I think he likes Marty, because he won a championship with Marty. So maybe he will be able to use him differently.
Maybe Marty doesn't feel as fucking under pressure as he like. Martin Marincin was dominant in the AHL.
He scored
He
a
should
goal.
be at least okay in the NHL.
Yeah, like I know it's the minors and it's not the same. TJ Brennan put up like 75 points,
Sure.
or something like that. I know it's
But
not
there were
the same.
fundamental things about Marincin's game. You were like, I could see that working at the NHL level. But it feels like when he's up there, he's like, I am afraid to make a mistake.
He can't handle the puck. Like, you talk about gripping your stick. He's like Goro from Mortal Kombat. 4 hands on the stick and just crushing the thing into splinters. Martin Marincin handling the puck is shocking. It's really bad. And I mean, that just can't happen. That picture.
It was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time.
It's pretty funny. And Cam Atkinson was on a roll because he did that, and he also, when the net came off, he put it back on.
Yeah,
And if
that was
I
a
saw a
fun
few
one,
people
too.
tweeting like, "Is that allowed?" I don't think that's allowed, and I'm like, that should be allowed.
It
That
is
should-
allowed.
Is it?
Yeah,
Good.
if
That should 100%
if
be
the
allowed.
net comes off and it doesn't disrupt play and it's put back on, play doesn't have to stop.
That's
a
hilarious.
referee can put it back on, a player can put it back on. As long as it's not affecting the play, it can be readjusted and put back on.
And Atkinson's taking himself out of the play
Yeah,
to do it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's pretty good. The pair, by the way, for Keefe was Marincin Hall. So, I mean, another pair we know he likes very much is Liljegren and Sandin.
Yep.
You know what? Like, it's been one video, and I've already changed my mind. Like, make it Keefe. Make it Keefe like you always meant to. Life's too short. Follow your gut.
But, well, like if
just
he's not
go
allowed
for
to, but I think at game 20 you got to make that call. You're 25% of the way through the season. You got to figure out where you're going to be. But
I want to know what the excuse will be at game 20.
But we're also
what, they're going to look different in 9 games?
They haven't looked different the entire calendar year. I agree. I think they're going to look the
2
same.
years,
Yeah.
3. They're not going to look different in 9 games.
But then you could still say, well, listen, they're still in the playoff spot.
Great. Then they'll make the playoffs again. Good.
Now, what if I said to you, the Caps lost a lot of playoff series that they should have won? Game 7.
Yeah, a lot of second rounds.
A lot of learning.
I would kill for
experiences.
that opportunity.
Well, if they'd played Pittsburgh in the first round, they'd have lost the first round.
Well, they didn't. If I had wheels, I'd be a wagon.
good
Because
wings,
that's what they
you'd be
kept
a bird.
losing to.
Yeah, if I had wings, I'd be a bird. You want to find
Right.
an excuse, you'll always find one. Let's spin the wheel, Leafs. Fucking you can afford it. Let's go. Let's make a big wheel. Hand out replica wheels at your games because you're not handing out fucking rings. Just spin the wheel and we'll find something.
But I agree with you. This team does not look like they're having fun, and they are sure not fun to watch. If the game is for the fans, this is not a fun team to watch.
No, so you know what you do is you give them 7 out of 13 Saturdays between the beginning of the season and New Year's Eve. Only 7 you give to the starter. The other 6, National TV
That's
Hockey Night in
scheduled.
Canada,
Is that-
you give to the backup.
Is that what we have on back-to-back?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's not the schedule. Nope. The strategy is backup plays second half of the back-to-back when the team is most vulnerable. They're putting their most vulnerable player. Michael Hutchison is the most vulnerable player the Leafs have on their roster, and 14 times this season, they're fucking him.
What if...
They're completely screwing him.
I understand the reasoning behind...
28 points. They're yard sailing.
I understand... Hold on.
27 because he managed to get 1 against Montreal, blowing a 3-goal lead.
But I understand the point of view where it's like, just secure the 2 points. However,
How'd that go?
the issue I'm having is that...
We're back to 28. They surrendered a point. So
The issue I have with that is that it seems like on their second night off, it sort of gives them like we got the 2 points. It's sort
It's
of
a
like,
loser's
it's sort
attitude.
of it's sort of like a and if you had Freddie Anderson in net, maybe the mental tired or maybe the physical tiredness that you feel, at least with Freddie making some big saves, makes you go, okay, you know what, I can bring it up for 20 more minutes.
How much do you blame Dubas for not just getting a better backup goalie? Where you have confidence in it?
how?
Why didn't he address this issue in July?
Well, I mean, you could say the same for Ray Shero as a starter. I don't think there are a lot of good goalies. I don't think there are. I just don't know. I mean, listen, he tried with Michael Neuwirth, right? He did bring him in. They've got some guys in the minors that are looking better and better.
Yeah.
Wool and Kaskisuo apparently looking good as well. I mean, I would give him a shot, but they don't want to. They don't want
Kaskisuo?
to. They don't want to crater his confidence. I just. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can blame him for that for sure. I just don't know what the options were.
Yeah,
they don't have
like-
any money. They signed Mitch Marner to like the dollar of what they could afford.
Yeah, it's insane.
I had to go to the bathroom. So you do your thing.
No, they had to build the roster around his fucking junior number. It's absolutely insane.
Steve.
No, the like Columbus went out and got Elvis, whatever his name is.
Stoico.
Stoico. They went out and got Elvis Stoico. They could have gone to Europe and probably gotten someone. You can't attract a solid European goaltender for league minimum. So I'm not. It would have been great if you went out and got another backup. But
How much money have you raised for East Seal so far?
are we doing this?
How much money have you raised so far?
31,600, I think.
And what's the goal?
50,000.
What does everybody who's been donating so far? They've been getting video shout outs. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah,
Has it spiked donations?
hugely.
Yeah.
Big time. I was, I can't remember what I was at, but it was ironically when Mitch Marner, or I thought Mitch Marner, scored the overtime winner against Boston on Saturday. I said, everyone who donates $16, I'll shout out in the video. Because previously it was $100 because I just wanted some big donations.
It's a lot.
And people donated, but it is a lot, right? So you're sort of limiting the amount of people who can who can be included. But I woke up to 140 emails the next morning.
Which is a lot of people.
Well, and it was like people donated 16, 1669, 44 because it was Riley, 100. A couple people have donated $108.93 because
awesome.
Leaf fans are petty as shit. It's been amazing, and we're the team I think is at 38,000. So
Okay.
my personal goal is 50,000, and the team's is 50. I'm hoping I hit 50, and I can change the teams to something bigger than that.
Yes. So you have the same goal as the team. So
Yeah.
but we could reach the team goal and you not reach 50. But
I should probably
assume-
change it to 60.
We'll probably
or
get
something.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope. Or 50.
55.
690.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, 'cause Adam's over 1,000 now, and
Nice.
you're over 2,000.
I mean, yeah, I'm at 2 something. Yeah.
TJ's doing well.
Yeah.
Rachel's Raiders coming through.
Right?
Yeah.
Are
Also,
you so? And if you are the top donator, you get like a trophy or something, right?
yes, it's a
individually.
replica Stanley Cup.
Is it really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and I want to have like a day with the cup, but I got to win it first.
Yeah.
So you gotta
you
help me win it.
get one for yourself. It's not the same one as like the Stanley Cup.
No, it's the same one.
It's the same one. Okay. And you
It's-
get it every year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably literally just have to be like, can I borrow it for a video? But I want to win it. I want to earn it. Easter Seals, one last thing for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic. So that's in Whitby. That is November 14th is the draft party. November 15th is the day of the tournament. So that is Thursday, Friday. We still need one team. We need a team. You and your friends register. It's a $1,500 registration, and you all have to raise a minimum of $400. So get 15 of your friends and raise $7,500. That's all you got to do. Between 15 of you, you can do it. We need one team. One team. Can you be that team? Get your friends together, your coworkers, talk to your company, do whatever you got to do. But we need one more team for the Eric Lindros Celebrity Hockey Classic coming up in a few weeks.
I just want to shout out the person that donated $420.69.
Nice.
Anonymously, I have no idea who you are, but thank you. Thank you
Amazing.
very much. Really appreciate that.
Mike Babcock.
I am at, I'm officially at 25% of my goal, so
you go.
1888 or something like that, but basically I'm trying to reach 69.69.
Oh, you're almost at 2,000.
Almost at 2,000, which is what I raised last year total, so that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Let's keep it going if we can. Just want to, obviously these, Steve talks about it all the time, but these go to families that cannot afford this stuff, and as you know, this stuff is not an
Not
easy
cheap.
expenditure for most households.
No.
And I think I've been wrong, and I need to look up the actual prices of wheelchairs because someone contacted me that their wheelchair cost $22,000.
Whoa, I thought it was like 3,000. That must be like
I did too, so I've made a mistake.
Wow.
There's lots of different kinds of wheelchairs,
Sure.
right? So maybe theirs is more high end
for what they
or
need,
something, or
it's suited what they need.
higher need is what I should have said. It's extraordinarily expensive, and the camp experiences and all of that. And I will say this: the team that raises the most money gets the first pick. The first pick is always Eric Lindros. I want Eric Lindros on my team, and even though I'm the top donor right now, the highest fundraising team last year raised $50,000. So we got to get there. We got to get there. We got to have Lindros. He always wears the Flyers jersey. I want to see if I can get him in blue and white.
Oh, let's get him in a Leafs.
Let's get him in a Leafs jersey, damn it.
Yeah, Leafs great. Eric
Let's
Lindros.
do it.
Second best 88 ever.
He'll have to call Nylander
Right
for permission
after
to wear
William
88.
Nylander.
He's the second highest scoring 88.
Yeah.
And let's also mention this while we're on fun subjects. If you want to play in a fun tournament, leovegas.net, you can sign up and play hockey with Matt Sundin as well. So
There you
Steve,
go.
well, and Steve's playing that weekend too.
Well, I hope.
So the Lindros tournament with Easter Seals is the Friday. The Matt Sundin one is that weekend. So Steve, you might be playing with Eric and
And
Mets.
Mets. If I am physically able, I will play.
So leovegas.net.
I might not be.
Leovegas.net. It's on the homepage. There's a rotator on the homepage. Just click the Matt Sundin link. You can sign yourself up there. It's easy. Easy. Now, the Jets. The Jets are so desperate for defense.
Ooh.
How desperate, Adam? I'll tell you.
How desperate.
Lucas Spiza was claimed on waivers off the Ducks by the Jets today.
The Swister Mister.
Don't tell me that the Jets wouldn't be interested in Cody Ceci.
That was the first thing I thought because it is always, always, always about the Toronto Maple
Sure,
Leafs.
but we are kind of a Leaf-focused podcast. So.
I don't remember who tweeted it, but imagine thinking you're about to play in Anaheim and you get claimed by Winnipeg.
At least he's gonna play.
Yeah, he was going to play in Anaheim.
Oh, was he?
That's why they signed him. So this, to my knowledge, so he was a free agent.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, so he was signed and had to clear waivers.
Why do they have to do that?
I don't know.
Can't you just sign with the team? I know Nabokov had to do that a few years ago, and well, he wanted to be in Detroit and end up with the Islanders.
Islanders, yes.
That's bullshit. Why? I don't know what that rule is, but it's stupid.
I don't.
That's a stupid ass rule.
It's probably to prevent certain types of shenanigans. I can't think of what exactly. Like I don't know.
Like with all the shenaniganery in the NHL, they're worried about that. Fringe guys.
Yeah.
Fucking fringe guy. Nabokov was a fringe guy at that point.
Yeah, and he wasn't great.
Spiza is a fringe guy, and they're worried about
Super
shenanigans
fringe.
from guys that make $700K. Come on.
Spiza, a right-handed. Is he right-handed shot? I can't remember. Like Corbinian Holzer is still on that team.
Mm-hmm, I
You
know
that, right?
One of the
Like, that's
longest
On the
running
Ducks? Yeah.
Yeah, he's been there for time.
Leafs great.
Did Brian Boyle have to clear waivers for Florida?
No.
Why?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some reason that when you look at it in the vacuum, you go, okay, I guess that makes sense. But, Luke
Maybe.
Spiza-
There's also rules in the NHL where you look at a vacuum and you're like, oh, that also doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Spiza, though, went from Vancouver to Vegas and now Anaheim. You have to think his life is on the West Coast. That just kind of sucks.
Well, yeah, and he previously played in Anaheim, I'm pretty sure. I want to say he was drafted by them.
Oh, okay.
And from the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
So this is a guy that's literally probably set up his whole life out there, signed with the Ducks for that reason, probably put off other people, and now you got to...
Now you're going to the Jets.
Well, listen.
I'm sure the Jets called. Jets were probably like, sign with us. Oops.
He's going to be second-line pairing Luke Spiza. He will get his time.
What if he just doesn't report? No,
Well,
I
then he
didn't want
can't
to play
play.
for you in the first place. So,
Then he can't play.
well, then maybe he won't.
I don't think he's going to do that.
I don't know.
Listen, the Jets, if they could just cobble together a defense, are a great team. They are.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, Bufflin comes back. They'll throw him back on waivers. Then he can go to Anaheim if they still want him. But
Oh man, it just sucks.
that's a desperate situation, man.
Given how Edmonton is, they struggle with depth. Their good players are very good. Their depth players are not.
Haven't they been shut out 2 straight games?
They have. Darnell Nurse is due up, and apparently Edmonton's going to start talking to him very soon. And it's been him, and it's been like Clefbaum, Nurse. Apparently Koskinen and Mike Smith have been great, and obviously Draisaitl and McDavid playing 80 million minutes a night. But with Darnell Nurse, he's seen. I know it's forwards and defense, but he saw what Draisaitl and McDavid got. He saw what Marner got.
Mm-hmm.
Even what Nylander got. Darnell Nurse is a pretty good hockey player for them. That's going to be a tough negotiation for Edmonton.
Those are the Leafs. Everyone else is signing for 3 years and cheap. That is what he will do.
You think so?
Yep. Our reality is not everyone else's. Everyone else gets to enjoy things, Adam.
Do you think that, and I was thinking this in the bathroom, literally as I'm peeing. Do you think that some of the negotiations this summer and last summer went the way they did? If the players...
I love that you were taking a pee and you were still thinking things.
Always think. I think best when I'm in the bathroom, either in the shower or going.
100%. I feel that.
Do you think that there's a possibility, and this is really far out there, tinfoil hat, just bear with me on this one. Do you think if the players loved playing here, do you think negotiations would have gone a little differently?
You mean Marner and Nylander?
Like, let's
and
say
Matthews?
they loved their coach. The way that St. Louis loves Berube. The way that Carolina loves Brindamore.
Babcock tax?
I think
Toronto
there's a
tax?
Toronto tax for sure for young guys. I think you're going, wow, yeah, let's see how Leaf fans react when I'm not here.
Stop playing sports. Stop playing sports. Like if you don't want the pressure, stop playing sports. NBA stars, no matter what market they play in, have to deal with this nationally.
Way more.
Yeah,
Way more.
Giannis plays in Milwaukee, and he has to deal with
Damon
it
Lillard.
nationally.
Portland.
Because this poor guy. See, the thing about Giannis, this poor guy, it's awful. Do you know what's wrong with him?
What is it?
He's really fucking good. and people like him and they pay attention to him. Oh, it's the worst. I hope he writes a book one day.
But I mean,
and talks about how awful it is
my
to
point
be
is,
good.
no.
And
My
talked
point
about.
is the coach. Could the coach thing? Could that play an angle?
If Sheldon
it does.
Keefe was the coach, would Mitch Marner sign for $1 million less?
Yes.
Maybe
No, I don't
maybe
know.
not $1 million less, but maybe the negotiations aren't as contentious. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe it's like, you know what? I got to be a part of this now, rather
Right.
than I am the part of this, which seemed to be the attitude. Just an ask. Just a question. Maybe not.
Steve, what is Adam, your number's 20 games in is where you truly assess you're hired for the rest of the season or
I
you're
think so.
fired?
I think you have to. 20 games, you better know something. If something's wrong, you better know it by game 20, right?
Right. And if,
Like it's like now it's like I have a feeling something's wrong. By game 20, 25% into anything, you should probably if you're 25%, if you are
what is
5
this?
weeks
What's
into
coming?
dating someone, you probably have either red flags or not, right? 5-6 weeks into dating someone.
How far into the Korean War do you have to be to know?
You have to be in Pyongyang and China enters, and then you're like, damn, we better back it off and bring it back down to the parallel that existed before, which is what happened.
Which Franco-Prussian war battle?
The French knew they were in trouble when they got surrounded twice
How
by the
much
Prussians
of your
in
brick-
1871. Look
Are
it
you
up.
fucked?
Happened.
Holy shit!
That's it. A lot of people say it led to the
A lot of people? People are saying.
the tensions existed for 50 years, and then World War I started, and the Germans almost did it again.
Are the French still like those Prussians?
I don't know. I don't think so.
those-
I think they've maybe given up on that. There's other issues at hand.
Those Prussians. I don't know. There's one guy who's still like, I
They
haven't
were very
forgiven the
upset about losing
Prussians.
Alsace and Lorraine.
Right.
So at that point, at the 20-game mark, from that point on, you're kind of on the, okay, if it goes south here, you're gone. If it keeps going in the right direction, we're keeping you on.
Wouldn't you?
It sounds right.
That's all I have to go on.
Right.
I mean, when you see most coaches fired, it's either like, oh, we saw it coming and we kind of thought they'd be fired going into this season, which honestly was somewhat what we thought with Babs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, here's a surprise firing right before playoffs, like New Jersey's done a couple times, and Lou Lamoriello's like, I will coach.
That was another crazy power structure thing.
Yeah, crazy. But I look at this and I think at 20 games, I would want to know. If I'm the manager, I would want to know. And I expect that the Leafs would know. And if you go through, if they continue to play like this by game 40 and you still haven't made a change, now it's not Mike Babcock's
40?
problem. Let's say
Yeah.
let's say they go halfway through the season. Let's go to 50% of the season. If they continue to play like this and you haven't made a change, that's no longer Mike Babcock's fault. It's yours.
Well, it's all, yes, exactly. It's all perception. So the second Dubas fires Babcock, it's on him. And now we're talking about if he doesn't fire Babcock, it's on him. Dude, fire the guy. All roads lead to fire the guy. We're done here. We're done. Stop. Stop. Stop doing compressions. There's no more breath.
So Darnell Nurse.
We're done here.
Darnell Nurse has
I want to know Steve's timeline.
what is Steve's timeline?
Last April.
What is
April
it now?
2019.
What is it right now?
Today. Fire him today. We're done. We're done. It's over. It's over, folks. It's over. Thank you for your service. We're done. Oh, well, he did this and he did that. That's great. That's great. I like history too. We're done. Right?
No,
You want this in blue?
Not quite. We're not quite done.
We're done. No, I'm not saying we're done.
Yeah.
We're
It's
done
just,
with this
If you're
situation.
firing Babcock right now, you better believe that the roster can turn it around with the new head coach.
Yeah, I do.
You better.
I do.
Yeah?
Yes.
You're 100% confident that
Right
with
now.
a new head coach,
Yes.
this lineup performs better.
Yes.
All right. If that's what you believe, then yes, you better fire Mike Babcock.
I have to tell you something.
I don't know if I believe in the roster enough for that to be true.
Okay. Interesting. Why not?
I could see a situation where you fire Mike Babcock and nothing changes.
Could you?
That they play at this same level because they just don't have it right now because they're not old enough and not mature enough. And there's no one in there who's truly won and knows what it takes to win.
So
Not
you're-
even your captain, John Tavares, has won anything.
He's been to a
True.
Yeah, it's true.
Not even a one playoff series.
One player. There you go. So I don't know at this point. That's why I'm saying right now isn't the solution, because you don't know that it's his fault. It could be the guys,
Here's what we got.
but they have potential. That's for sure.
Might be a success, might be a failure. That's if you fire him. Might be a success, might be a failure. If you keep him, will fail.
You don't know that.
Yeah, we do. If we're going evidence-based, you will fail. That's the path. We can keep walking down the path to failure just because it's well lit and shit. Or we could go down the slightly creepy one that, who knows, maybe it leads to like a gingerbread house or something. Maybe it leads to a championship. Maybe it leads to there's a bear in the house and you get eaten.
I hate when that happens.
Red Dead. I don't know. I just think we're done here.
Okay. Darnell Nurse, though. I wonder if, because they've often said there's an Edmonton tax. You got to love it here. Even Friedge says it in his thing. If you love it in Edmonton, great, because they have a hard time attracting free agents. Do they pay an Edmonton tax on Darnell Nurse?
Probably.
And what's that contract look like? If it's 3 years and if it's 7 years, what are you paying Darnell Nurse?
Werenski just got 5 times 3. And I know who I would rather have out of Werenski and Nurse. But
Are you saying Werenski?
yes.
Werenski can't defend.
Yeah.
Objectively cannot defend.
And Nurse is not where this game is going though.
True.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? And he's a guy I'd be worried about signing him to a long contract because I just worry about how he ages.
You know he will, though. They'll sign him to a long-term deal.
Well, yeah, it's Edmonton, right? So probably. I mean, who knows? They have a hard time keeping guys, so maybe it's even in their best interest. But just because he has a different skill set than Werenski, I could see him getting something similar to that.
Interesting.
Truth be told,
Okay.
3 times 5.
All right. I like this. I like this little piece, and this is the last thing for 31 Thoughts I'm going to pull. Point 19 on 31 Thoughts. One scout that has seen Dallas a few times said, the way they grind you, they're built for the playoffs. That's why they gave St. Louis so much trouble. The problem is you have to get there. The regular season is not like that. Does Dallas get there?
I think they're better than, what are they, 2-7-1?
Something like that. That might have changed a little bit since last episode, but it's not going to be much better than 2-7-1.
They're better
because that's what they
than that.
were.
They're better than that, for God's sake. They need to score.
3-7-1.
3-7-1. They're on a heater. I think they've won 2 straight.
They have.
No, they're better than the record suggests. I just think they need a little bit more offense. And also, I don't know, they did get kind of old.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe need a little
Like
bit of
Pavelski.
speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I wonder too. Then is there an opportunity then?
To make it a little switcheroo.
Well, they
Heiskanen for Gravel.
Well, they seem to need, like, Pavelski is like in San Jose. They just fucking love Pavelski, right? They loved him, and I know he's a forward. I get that, and I know he's declining. I get that, and I know people are going to go no, but if Joe Pavelski's 3 years younger, are you upset if there's a trade? Like, if you could find a Pavelski's what, 35?
Yeah.
So I think he's aged out. He's not where the Leafs want to go. But
no way.
if you could find a 31-year-old leader like that,
I don't even know if it's a leader thing.
you think it's a coach thing? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Like,
wonder if Bruce.
I'm not picking on him.
They're saying Bruce
A
Boudreau
little
might be
bit.
on the block. If Bruce Boudreau
Picking
comes
on
up,
him as if I'm like, na boo boo, get fired, you suck.
You kind of are.
I'm just my genuine heart of hearts. This team has gone as far as they can go with this guy.
Bruce Boudreau, if he came up, would that be a guy that you'd be like, hey, all right?
Neither of us can win a game 7. It's a match made in heaven. Let's do it together.
He's great in the regular
You're
season as a
picking
coach.
on him.
No, not Babcock. I'm making fun of the Leafs It's one Leaf fan making fun of another. Bruce Boudreau's an enormous Leaf fan.
Yeah.
I think the Leafs would jump at the opportunity. Who knows? Maybe that's what they're waiting on.
He seems to be a coach that people like, at least.
And he's like a little bit older too. So like, what if the plan is Minnesota fires Bruce,
Bring him
Leafs-
in for the rest of the season.
bring him in for the rest of the season and next maybe, and then it's Sheldon.
I was about to say, if you're Sheldon Keefe and Babcock gets fired and you don't get the
Yeah.
job, do you walk out the door?
Probably.
I don't think so.
I
You don't think so?
Yeah. No, but that's your. If I'm him, I'm looking at that. That's my job. As soon as there's an empty seat there and he hasn't won, I'm stepping
Yeah,
in.
like what else does Sheldon Keefe need to do?
Right.
He's won the championship. He's
Yeah.
done it.
I stuck.
Final Four
if
last year.
anything, he stuck around too long.
Yeah.
Well,
He coulda worked.
Oh, he's done Dubas a huge solid. And I was like, oh, you're disrupting the minor league system. Like, who do you get to replace him then? I don't know. The Growlers won the Kelly Cup. Like, there's clearly nothing wrong with the Leafs development system. You know, they keep churning out excellent graduates that do. I mean, the guys we're ranting about right now are the only guys who didn't really have to go through the system, actually. Matthews didn't have to go through the development system. Marner didn't have to go through the development system. Yeah, maybe that's the answer. I don't know. I think it was the answer in April. I think it's what Dubas wanted. There's a clip that I didn't retweet because I don't know.
Adam, what's so funny?
What? What?
What's so funny?
No, please continue, and then I'll tell you. No, there's a clip from April. Please continue the
Okay.
point. Please continue the point. We circle everything back to the Leafs in this episode. If you're a fan of any other team, it's going to be the most annoying thing you've ever seen in
Oh
your life.
yeah,
I know
what a
what's
weird
happening.
episode, right?
Yeah.
What a weird episode.
All right, fair enough. I'm laughing. I've been laughing about something for a few minutes, and it's just, I'm sorry. Continue, though, please.
Tic Tac Omar.
Man, what a great follow. Thank you for telling me.
So good. So good. Like, love Flintor still, but like Tic Tac Omar is really, really good. So there was a flash of Dubas talking to Shanahan really animatedly. I think it was right before the overtime
Does Flinter have it?
of the Columbus game. No, Tic Tac Omar does. And I think the clip and the timing of the clip is important, and I want to make sure I have this right, and I'm not sure. So I'm throwing that out there right now.
Sure.
The clip is from, I think, between when Matthews and Marner and Riley are on the ice to start overtime
Against Columbus.
against Columbus, and then Babcock takes them off to line match
Okay.
because he's Mike Babcock.
I'm going to just...
Then the camera goes up to Dubas and Shanahan, and I don't think this was an intentional thing from the broadcast crew. I just think they went up there and they happened to catch
I
that.
hope it was. Isn't that their job?
Well, no, they weren't like, oh, look, he's pissed off. I think
Well,
they
why
just
wouldn't
went
they? Why
up
wouldn't
there.
they?
I don't know. But if you read Dubas's lips,
What's he say?
I can't catch the end of the sentence, but it seems clear as day to me. He's going, he has to know they figured out. You got to look at the clip.
He has to know they
He's
figured it out.
pointing animatedly at the ice, and he's talking to Shanny, and he's going, he has to know they figured out. It's a little ways back.
What would the context of that be? I'm looking. Here it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, have you found it? Send it to Jesse so we
I
can put it
see
on the screen.
I can see it. I got it. Yeah,
He
but what
has to know they figured out.
figured out what?
that he wants the line match? I don't know.
Okay, sent to
That's
you,
a
Jesse.
frustrated general manager.
If that's animated, man.
He has to know they figured
So
out.
So you're implying that in this situation, Dubas is upset at Babcock for not realizing that they figured something out?
Could
What's
be.
happening?
Could be. Might not be.
Where did you send this, Adam?
I sent it to your Gmail, I thought.
Oh, my Gmail. I thought you sent it on Facebook.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Darnell Nurse.
Well, not anymore.
I know. Here, can I put him on the list?
There's something I do want to bring up, too, while we're waiting for this to pop up on screen. Allison L.,
Hey.
who is a great follow. She's a Columbus Blue Jacket writer. And she interviewed John Tortorella, who's a big fan of overtime, and he said that overtime's dynamite. They should just, I don't know what we're waiting for. Get rid of the shootout stuff. I know they're worried about the time limit. It's just not going to last that long. If it goes past 5 minutes, it's not going to be many more minutes after 5. I think it's just dynamite.
100%.
I think
God love John Tortorella.
Can I be honest with you? I think the reason overtime is dynamite is because it's 5 minutes. The 3-on-3,
no.
the 3-on-3 is exciting, but I have to tell you, if you had a 20-minute overtime period, teams would start to line match. Teams would start to play defense, and they would start to play conservatively. I guarantee it.
Okay, 5
The
minutes
time-
or 1 second, you throw a second puck
You know
out.
what? You want to get people pumped?
What?
Make the overtime 10 minutes max, and if you lose, you don't get anything.
Whoa. So there's no overtime point.
There is no. If you can even keep the overtime point, but if you tie a game, 0 points. That'll get the players motivated.
Hell yeah.
Wait,
That's what you should do.
Might be taking fewer risks, though. Might be taking fewer risks. Because if
Well,
you get the
it's
1
better
point...
than no fucking risks in a 20-minute period. They'd be like, Mike Babcock would be like, all right, get Gravel and Shore and Goat out there just in case. We got to make sure we win these faceoffs, contain the possession, and we'll let them cycle in our zone for 5 fucking minutes.
It was like Babcock throwing out Polak in overtime
Yes!
when they had to kill a penalty. I'm like, oh my God, I
it's
want
like
to
Bill
strangle
Pierce,
you.
who again threw out Milan Lucic as the 6th man last night. Unbelievable. Listen, the NHL is the NHL. Take the fucking points away from them. Just say, listen, sorry, if you guys tie, you're fucked.
Yeah, I at least understand Lucic as the 6th man because there's 6, and you just want your biggest guy out in front.
No,
I don't think he's a good offensive player.
He cannot tip. He is only big. So if his job is to stand in front of the net, then he better learn to tip, which he doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. Milan Lucic is coached by a hockey coach. So he will always have a job.
Yes, true. Anyway, I think the true overtime, 3-on-3, 10 minutes. If there is no goal at the end of it, 0 points. F you wasted our time. And I think at least the fans would go, ha, thank you.
Can I give you the correct solution?
Please.
We eliminate points. We say, hey, you either win the game or you lose the game. And then we just play 3-on-3 overtime until someone scores.
I think you got to have a time limit on it.
No.
I really do. I think you got. I think you do. I think you got to leave people. If you don't put a time limit on it, people will be afraid to make mistakes.
So play forever.
They can't do that with the broadcast, though. They really can't.
No, they can. It's called basketball and it's called baseball.
They're not making money like basketball and baseball. NBC will not do it.
6 minute and 54-second overtimes. It's 6.9 minutes. It's nice. You'll get more wins out of it.
And maybe the second overtime period is 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Adam Wild with the
that's
answer.
almost 10 minutes.
There it is. There it is.
Guys, I'm telling you, it's like a good radio break. If it's shorter, it leaves people wanting more.
No, you play the game until someone wins the game.
In overtime, illegal
That's it.
curves are legal. People are just walking out there with friggin' banana
And
curves.
steroids are okay.
Yeah! They just hand out syringes before overtime. And energy drinks and drink this smelling salt.
Is it Friedman who said he'd like to one day see a steroid sport where it's just like, hey, go do your thing, just see what the human body is capable of?
That is a. I mean,
Was it
listen,
Friedman or was it Merrick?
No,
I
I'm
forget
pretty
who
sure
said
that
it.
was Bill Burr.
that doesn't sound like a Freach thing to say.
Yeah. Can you imagine him getting on Hockey Night in Canada?
It wasn't
You know what?
on
I
Hockey
just
Night.
want to see them do steroids. No, it was Bill Burr, man. Bill Burr
wasn't
said that.
Bill Burr.
It was 100% Bill Burr.
Was it Bill Burr?
Bill Burr said steroids should be legal in baseball.
It would be interesting to see what humans could do.
It would be
Because
interesting.
all of it's human creation,
Listen,
right? Like
and
the
if you-
steroid is made by people.
You're not wrong.
And
the-
metal bats.
And for anybody that says,
Yeah.
it's a bit problematic, you telling me that football's not problematic and hockey's not problematic?
Right.
Like, come on, the way like the concussion issues and all that stuff, they're problematic. You still watch. Think UFC, people beating the crap out of each other. You think there's not long-term damage there? It's problematic,
God.
but we like sports because guess what? They're a bit problematic.
Well,
They are. So I'm with you, Jesse. I too would, for a while at least, want to see a bunch of jack dudes
Just like to see
with
it.
Joe Rogan in their ears going,
Hey, want some HGH in your ass? Let's go.
no.
by the way,
Be a bunch of we could call it.
no one's listening to this podcast
David
because they're all
Goggins
listening to what he just released.
Yo, David Goggins.
Did you see who he got?
Yeah, Edward Snowden.
When?
Today.
This latest
He
episode.
got Edward Snowden.
I actually really like this tweet. It's like, Joe Rogan smokes weed. Joe Rogan. So, like, is the government actually corrupt? Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden's response: yes. Guy powerlifting at a Planet Fitness. Damn, bro, that's fucked.
Damn, bro, that's fucked.
And then a bunch of people are responding like, powerlifting is not allowed at Planet Fitness.
No!
Because it's a liability issue.
Don't bother saving your money. We got 30 years tops. Just enjoy your life. Holy shit.
No, but if you had an all steroid league, David Goggins got to be the commissioner, right? Because he'd have to weed out the soft motherfuckers.
You know what's the
Not that he does
top,
steroids. I'm not suggesting that. I don't think he does.
the top headline when you search Edward Snowden and his Joe Rogan interview?
That's fucked.
Out of a 2 hour, I think it's 2 hour and 56 minutes or something, interview that was just released today. The top headline on Google News is, Edward Snowden doesn't think the government is hiding aliens.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's disappointing, actually. I would have hoped it, because I want to believe that they are. At least that's some fun in the world. You know?
This is like when we sent Dennis Rodman to North Korea.
I'm gonna
Oh, wow,
listen
he's
to it.
talking?
That's the one? I do kind of want to hear it.
I
probably
absolutely want to hear it.
Because Joe's a good interview. I didn't say I agree with all the subjects. I just said he's a good interview.
He is a good interview.
You can't say he's not a good interview.
That's ridiculous to say he's not.
He's no. I don't think he pushes back very hard, very often. Sometimes he does. He chooses his spots. I think he just sort of lets his subject talk, which I guess it's a style, but like there's no pushback, right? He just sort of lets everyone have their advertorial or whatever for 2 hours.
Sure.
He's letting them tell their story.
If you have Edward Snowden, you let him talk.
The point of an interview is to let people tell their story, right? And challenge them a little bit, but just kind of go, okay, but people will say this, and people will say this, and people will say that. So, I mean, listen, if you want a highly interruptive style, then you can watch Piers Morgan, who is one of. I don't understand how that guy is so popular, but anyway.
Because you hate him?
Yeah, fuck me, man. But Joe Rogan, I think, whatever you want to say about some issues in the past or whatever, I think he's a fucking brilliant interviewer.
He's led a fascinating life.
Yes, he has. So anyway, this will be great, and just be great and interesting. But yeah, I've been reading about. Huh?
Aliens, bro.
Aliens,
damn,
bro.
that's fucked.
Bro, that's fucked. Can I just tell you something?
Oh, yes.
Total aside, a book worth reading is Catch and Kill. And it's by by Ronan Farrow, and I've been raving about this book because it's about how the Harvey Weinstein scandal was reported on, released, why NBC wouldn't release it, why the New Yorker would, and the short story here is that it's NBC wouldn't do it because there was mega connections to Miramax and personal connections. Miramax being that's Harvey Weinstein's company, Weinstein Company and Miramax. Right?
It's a movie company. Right?
Yes, yeah. So, anyway, long story short, he goes into afterwards, after the story comes out, about how, because Ronan Farrow was tailed by ex-Mossad agents, guys from Israel who have retired from the Secret Service and are now contracted to do surveillance and that sort of thing.
That's wild.
And he goes into how he found out about it, and it's pretty unbelievable. One of the things that they've developed now, that apparently, I don't know if iPhones would probably count in this too, but I thought everything on iPhones was encrypted. I don't know. Anyway, they have a technology now that can go into your phone and strip it, and I think it's called Pegasus, and it literally just strips it for all the information that it has, and they can find out everything you've ever done, where you go, what you do, everything.
Cool.
And it's like I was like, holy fuck, that exists. Oh my god.
Damn, bro, that's fucked.
Yeah, damn, bro, that's fucked. As I powerlifted Planet Fitness. Anyway, total random aside. Darnell Nurse. No, we're talking about overtime. We're talking about overtime.
Every time we get off topic, we should just go Darnell Nurse.
Anyway, Darnell Nurse's contract.
Oh my God.
I like overtime, but I think you got to have a time limit on it because you got to force teams to make mistakes.
Oh, John Tortorella, the Columbus game, had a big old cut on his forehead and a black eye.
Why?
Well, I tweeted, "What's up with his face? LOL," something like that. He had skin cancer removed
Oh,
a week ago.
that sucks.
It wasn't like life threatening or anything. They said
No, but
But all the same,
Yeah.
I think
I'm just trying to.
My
Yeah,
parents,
yeah.
yeah,
It was
When
well,
people
like
hear
October-
cancer,
Yeah.
they immediately react. I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
that's
yeah,
a
it's a
tough,
hot button word for sure.
Right.
tough word. Yeah, October 16th, and I somehow completely missed it, and everyone showed it to me right away. And I mean, typical John Tortorella, just right back behind the bench.
Now,
You wouldn't
there-
expect anything less.
There are several comments on your video, Steve. You put the video up a couple hours
I haven't
ago.
even had a chance to look.
Jesse and I listened to it. We watched some of it, but we were listening to it as we were prepping and setting up and everything. And the top comment on it, this is it. He's finally lost it. We have witnessed the total collapse of this man's sanity.
I get
is this
that
it?
comment like 30 times a year.
yeah.
Another person, Steve, is going off the edge nice and early this season.
Game
A
11?
guy named Ryan. Steve's got that Joker laugh going on, pure agony.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. And then someone said Steve must have seen the new Joker movie.
Nope.
No.
Have not seen it. Is he a baddie?
I think he's a baddie.
I haven't seen it.
Have you seen it?
No. Don't
Heard it's
care
good.
to.
My
I know he
dad saw it.
dances on some stairs.
Yeah. Also, people going to those stairs and don't. It's one of the worst parts of New York.
Oh, is it?
Like you don't want to be in that area at all.
What part of New York is it in?
Just a crime-riddled area.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And then there's just a bunch of people going there and dancing on it like the Joker, and they definitely shouldn't just be hanging out there, even in broad daylight.
Getting robbed with a sharpened
Well,
toothbrush.
especially when you've got an iPhone and you're taking pictures.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just the heavy crime areas. You probably just don't want to be hanging out.
We have a friend that's on the force, and one of his favorite stories to tell.
On the force. He's a cantankerous dog with a badge.
That's right. His name is Ruff. Ruff and Hux.
God, I love you too.
One of the things that he talks about is he's like, you wouldn't believe how many people do really dumb things with equipment, camera equipment. So I guess these Ryerson kids, which is a local school, I don't know if you've heard about, kind of inferior. No, I'm kidding.
What?
The graduates
The
are really
fuck.
stupid.
Hey.
No, so these guys, I guess, wanted to shoot a documentary, and they had thousands of dollars worth of camera equipment because that's not I mean, our rig was really expensive, and we don't even have a top-notch rig. It's a good rig, but it's not like, studio quality.
But schools.
It's no ice surfing rig, that's for sure.
I have a story when you're done.
Schools consistently have the best equipment.
They
though.
do.
Ryerson, we had the first HD camera ever in Canada. That was the thing they always boasted about when we.
Didn't we have the first
we
Phantom
got-
cam?
I don't know what that is.
Or red cam?
We had the first red. That's my next point. And then we had the first red camera ever in Canada. So those two things were pretty cool.
And that camera's, I don't even know how much money.
Oh my god, no idea. $50,000.
So these guys decide,
Oh, it's
and
a
this
lot
is
more than that.
this is my neighborhood, so I can attest to how bad it is. I live in an area called Moss Park, and there are some particularly bad streets, but Sherburne, Gerrard, Sherburne, Dundas, you don't want to be walking through there with visible camera equipment at 2 a.m.
you don't want to go there and dance on a couple stairs like you're the Joker and be like, "Hey, I'm just hanging out with my friends."
So these guys were trying to shoot a documentary
Oh,
at
no.
night, and in a high crime area because they wanted to interview people that hang out in that area at night.
And you know what?
So they went up to interview the guys, and
applaud-
the guys said, "We'll take the equipment, thanks." And they said, "What?" And they said, "No, you're not walking away without giving us the equipment."
I applaud them for being like, we're going to do journalism, man. Like, we're serious about this. And I get it. But, oh, honey.
And then they go to the cops, and the cops are like, "Okay, obviously we'll file the report. We'll do the thing that we can." Meanwhile, they know that there's nothing that they can do because guess what? It's been sold already.
Oh, that's gone.
It's half an hour. It's gone. It's gone. You'll never see it again. So don't go to high crime areas with expensive things.
Oh, my
bad
God.
idea.
There were... So, for practicum, did you have to do practicum? I know
We
they changed
did,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, you had to pitch your practicum project.
Practicum is just your final project.
Yeah, your big final project. And one key thing that a lot of students, myself included, struggled with was pitching a believable practical budget. and we pitched a sports idea where we would go to Montreal, and it'd be like 7 of us, and we thought we could do it for like $3,000. And we got turned down, and I was bitter about it for a long time. And now that I know what I know, I'm like, we could have absolutely never done that for $3,000.
Right.
We ended up doing that reality show at a used car dealership. But there was...
You say that like people know what you're talking about.
We've talked about it before. You guys are always like, you've told that before.
Okay. Keep going.
Anyway. So there was a practicum that was approved with a budget of, I want to say...
You know we have first-time listeners, but keep going.
Okay, fine. There was a practicum that was approved with a budget of like, it was something like either $25,000 or like $40,000. But they said, we can afford it. Here's how we're going to pay for it. Here's how we're going to do it. And the school goes, okay. And they're like, we're going to rent equipment and we're going to bring it to Vancouver and all that shit. There was another practicum it was basically the group was just the rich kids. And there was one guy who was in the program, and he was a great guy. Really liked him. But I don't think he was terribly interested in the program. But he, I think, was previously like a professional snowboarder. Mm-hmm. And the practicum sounded an awful lot like, we're just going to go film him snowboarding.
Yeah.
And then when they showed it, it was beautiful. But it was just him snowboarding.
It was Shaun White, by the way.
Shaun White.
Whatever
anyway,
became of him.
What happened?
What did you say?
I said whatever became of him anyway.
He'll never amount to anything.
Nothing. You should cut his hair too.
Yeah. So
Get a real job. There's
a haircut you can wind your watch to.
There's a long way to a story.
Yeah.
I know, because I keep getting fucking interrupted.
Oh man.
Anyway,
must be hard for you.
It's crazy.
That's fucking true. I wanted to strangle myself. I listened to the final segment last show.
Oh, wow.
You're being way too hard.
You would have been totally justified strangling me last show.
No.
Anyway.
It's still telling the story.
Still telling the story.
What time is it?
The extremely high budget project that went to Vancouver.
Yeah.
They left all their equipment alone for like 15 minutes in an unlocked car.
15 seconds is too much.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Gone. All of it gone. And I think they had insurance for it, but the school tore a strip off them.
As they should.
The rich kids, they're driving down the West Coast and they're partying the entire time. They rented an RV. They had all their equipment in the RV. And like I said, they were partying. They got a little messed up. They slept outside of the RV or like passed out outside of the RV. They left all the doors wide open. When they discovered it the next morning, not a thing touched.
Oh, wow.
Not a thing.
Oh, my God.
Not a thing touched.
That's amazing. Well,
kids, be careful with your frickin' equipment.
that's fucking awesome.
That sucks, man. What a shitty lesson to learn.
Yeah. Let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle
Jesse,
Press
have we any
Conference.
questions?
For today's press conference, we are going to do some trivia courtesy of our friend at Crawdaddy222, who slid into my DMs and passed along this great piece of history. You guys are going to combine your brains, the Adam Wilde and Steve Dangle brains, which will combine to make one super hockey brain.
Oh,
And you are going to tell me the 10 players that the Leafs have drafted in their franchise history. It's only been 10 that have played at least 1,000 NHL games. If you get a minimum of 3 guys on this list, all I want is 3 guys out of this 10, you will win today's SDP Trivia Challenge.
Okay. By the way, I just want to throw this out there. Nesson has released a video.
Oh.
And I guess they went around with Leaf fans in town asking them for the reaction to the Brad Marchand for Austin Matthews trade. And Leaf fans absolutely lost their minds. And I think that's really funny. I thought I had to bring that up.
How dare
And
you.
also that Kyle Dubas clip, according to Jeff Vayette, the thing that Kyle Dubas mouthed was he had to know that Kerfoot would be lining up with Jenner. That seems to be what people are saying. I don't know.
well,
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
hey,
Let's do this.
Oh,
Stop.
sorry.
Jesse,
I
hit
was
us.
looking for...
Hit us with it. Let's go.
I didn't see anything.
All right.
Swear to God.
Steve, cough. That's messed up, bro.
This is messed up, bro.
There are 10 players on this list. the amount of the player that the Leafs have drafted that have played at least 1,000 NHL games.
Is it only 10?
There's only 10 guys in the history of the franchise. All I need you to do is get 3 correct. You get 10 guesses.
That have played
1,000 games
for the Leafs.
And they're Leafs draft picks.
No, they're just Leaf draft.
Just-
Oh my God.
1,000 NHL games, period. Doesn't have to be for the Leafs.
Okay. Vincent Domfus.
1. You get 10 guesses combined.
Borja Salming.
No. That's 2 guesses.
That was a good guess, though.
That was an okay guess.
1 correct.
Okay, no. There's
8 guesses left.
Obviously, you've got
Got to put our heads together.
you got like guys that have had long careers after being drafted by the Leafs. So you got to think like, like we can toss around ideas like Wendell Clark, maybe
I don't
think so,
think
but-
Wendell Clark did.
Daryl Sittler, maybe Lanny McDonald.
Maybe. See, okay, this is ignorant. Like, because those guys were so long ago, I don't know. Like,
They were
who
only playing. I think they were playing in the 70s. They were playing like 70 games a year. It
Yeah, but
wasn't
like,
as
were
much.
they drafted? Even.
Were they drafted?
They have to be
yeah,
Leafs
of course.
draft
Yeah,
picks.
yeah. Like Sittler was drafted. Lanny McDonald's drafted. But I think Sittler was drafted so long ago. All he got was a phone call from the team. Hey, you've been drafted.
He got a letter in the mail.
Yeah, honestly, that's what they used to get. It's weird.
Did the Leafs draft Kenny Johnson?
Yes, good pick.
He
I was
played
gonna
a
say-
long time.
He did. He was the Islanders' captain.
Are you filing it in?
Kenny Johnson?
Wow.
Incorrect. That's 2 wrong,
One right.
1 right.
Finny Damphus was a good pick.
You got 7 to go. Wait, 6 to go.
6 to go.
6 to go.
Can't be a
don't know
goalie,
that.
right? No way.
No, well, like Tuukka Rask has been playing forever, and he just played 500.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. It takes a long time. 1,000 games.
1,000 games.
I think it's all got to be somewhat modern era. Like, and I say modern era from like the start of the '80s because I don't, unless like Lanny played like 20 years. Do we not try Lanny McDonald?
Let's try Lanny McDonald.
Ding, 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 ding.
There you go.
Lanny
Good.
McDonald.
Like they drafted him in the early '70s. He was playing until '89. Like he had to have been.
You got 5 guesses left.
Thomas Caberlet? Did he play that long?
Well, he played. His first season was '98, '99.
And he won the Cup with the Bruins in 2011, and then I think he still kept playing.
I think it's possible. He was rarely injured.
I'll say Thomas Caberlet.
Incorrect. Thomas Caberlet is not on the list.
Damn.
Thomas Caberlet, I'll Google it quickly.
How many games did he play?
How many games did Thomas Caberlet played in his career?
999.
Yeah, right. And then he got lined up with Mike Babcock, and Mike Babcock would not let him get a
984.
Oh.
Yeah, not 1,000.
Come on.
Not
You know what? Wherever he
1,000.
signed the next season, I think he just lost it. Like he's one of those guys that like had it until he didn't, and then he just didn't.
He was a Hab, wasn't he?
I thought he was in Carolina with Francis.
I think he was both.
Okay.
Thomas Caberlet played for the Carolina Hurricanes and the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins in the 2011 season.
It's got to be somebody that's drafted before like 2004 as well, right?
Ty Domi was drafted by the Rangers, right?
No.
Or was
a
he
Jet.
drafted by the Leafs?
No, he's drafted by the Leafs by Gord Stellick.
And I think he went
went
straight
to-
to the Jets.
Went to the Jets, then the Rangers, then Toronto,
And he played for a very long time.
and he played every game. I don't mind it.
Ty Domi.
Ding, 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 ding,
Hey!
ding! 3
We got
correct.
3.
Let's keep going,
There
let's
you
keep going,
go.
let's keep
Let's keep going. Let's see how many more you can get.
There
Ty
were some
Domi is
funny
on that list.
drafts. Like Russ Courtnall comes to mind. Like he played forever, but
And he was a draft pick.
yeah,
And
Because
there's
that
a
was the
couple
kid
guys,
line. It was Dan Foose, Wendell Clark, and Russ Courtnall. Rick
Okay.
Vive's another guy that I go, maybe.
Oh, maybe. We'll say Courtnall. Russ Courtnall.
Ding, 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 ding,
Hey!
ding!
All
Ross
right, all right.
Cordell.
Rick Vive, he got injured though.
Yeah. What about because
you
he was a Leaf a couple times. I don't know who he was drafted by. Steve Thomas.
Yeah, interesting because he did. What did he do? New Jersey. He did Chicago. Did he do
Anaheim.
Chicago? Anaheim.
Chicago,
right.
yep.
Yeah, his last few years were in Anaheim with Mike Babcock.
Stumpy?
Let's try Stumpy.
Stumpy.
Not Stumpy. He's not on the list. That's 4 wrong, 4 correct.
Is it possible that someone in the 50s, when they were playing like 50, 60 games a year, just played for like 25 years.
Well, like George Armstrong, but like, was he drafted? I don't know if he was drafted. That's the problem. And he would have been drafted. His first season was 49.
I don't know if they did drafts
And he
back
played
then.
till
They just sort of
70.
had systems.
The
Let's try
first, George Armstrong?
Why not?
George Armstrong.
No draft.
5 wrong, 4 correct. You've already done better than I thought you would. You got 4.
Oh,
so.
doing better than I thought we would.
Russ Courtnall.
So you had. Let's
had a
look at
name
the
in
70s
mind.
teams. You got
Sittler.
Lanny, Sittler. Have we even tried Sittler?
We haven't tried Sittler. Could.
Boria, we tried.
We tried Boria.
Not going to be Mike Palmatier.
No,
Not going to be Norm Oldman, is it?
I don't think so.
That's a
Dave Keon.
name.
Like, I don't know if he was picked.
Yeah.
Right? Draft pick. Didn't he miss, like, with injuries?
Yeah, I think he did. And then you've got who do you have draft? Who did they even draft in the 80s? Like Drake Barahowski.
Drake Barrett, well, he was in 90s. They had Dom Foose, who we got.
Yeah, Ross Courtnall, who we got.
Yeah. No Wendell Clark. Like, I'm trying to think of someone who was a Leaf for a hot minute.
Did Nick Antropop?
No, he was injured all the time. He played for a long time, but he was injured all the time.
Yeah, like could have maybe if he hadn't been injured.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of who else they drafted through the 90s because they fired so many draft picks into the sun. And it's not; these are not draft picks that were traded to other teams that were drafted by those teams, right? It would
No.
be like a Roberto Luongo, Scott Niedermayer situation.
No, it has to be a
Okay.
Leaf pick.
Leaf pick.
Yeah, Scott Niedermayer would be a lock. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but
You
that
would
doesn't
think this
count.
game would be easier because the Leafs made so few good picks. With the so few picks they had.
Right.
like Steve Sullivan, who they lost away. I don't think he played long enough.
Yeah.
There's just so many guys in the history that weren't picks, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rare, like it was rare that you ever like I remember Brad Boyes cracked the lineup for a couple games. I was like, whoa, an actual Leaf draft pick. You think?
Maybe Brad Boyes. Well, dude, he was drafted, I want to say 2002, and he finished playing 2015
With the Leafs.
with the Leafs.
It's possible. He did score 40 goals once.
No. No, I don't think
There
so.
aren't many other choices based on our criteria, right?
Brad Boyes.
Brad Boyes is not on the list. That's 10 guesses. If you guys want to keep going, we can keep going. If you want to throw in a couple
like any
more.
defense besides Kenny Johnson? Dmitry
Well, I'm
Yuskevich?
trying to, like, okay, so Larry Murphy was a...
Danny Markov? Larry Murphy was not a Leafs pick.
No, he was a Penn, wasn't he?
He was a Minnesota pick.
Minnesota.
North Stars.
Like a Jamie McCowan. Yeah, Dmitry Yuskevich, but he missed a bunch of time.
I don't even think McCowan was a Leaf pick. I think it was a Flames pick that was traded with the Gilmore trade.
That's right. That's right.
Uh,
We could do this forever.
Yeah.
Should we punch out at 4?
Let's punch out.
All right. You guys did better than I thought. I
Okay.
thought your
We
cap
didn't.
would have been 3 was the challenge. You got 4.
I wouldn't
need
have
to-
guessed Russ Courtnall.
I need to know when the draft started. I should look that up. I should know that. I don't know when that
I
started.
want to say like 40s, 50s, something
Yeah.
like that, maybe 50s.
So,
We'll start from the bottom. Matt Stajan. Matt Stajan
shit.
played a career 1,003 games.
wow. we should
Leafs draft pick.
That one we should have probably had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second rounder, 2000.
I don't know.
2000?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I once sat next to him at a Raptors game. Very nice.
Oh, wow, fun.
Very nice guy.
Mississauga boy.
Yep.
Todd Gill, number 9.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
1,007 games.
I didn't know he was a Leaf pick, to be honest. Okay.
Laurie Boschman,
I would have never.
Don't know who that is.
1,009 games, drafted in 79. I looked that one up. Ty Domi, you got?
Yep.
1,020 games. Russ Courtnall, you got? 1,029 games. Number 5, Randy Carlyle.
Oh, no way, really?
1,055 games. Leafs draft pick.
Former Leaf captain.
Was he?
He was
no.
the captain.
He won the Norris, I know that, with Pittsburgh.
Is he captain?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't
Hold
think
on,
he
hold
was.
On, hold on, hold on.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, before we move on, we are going to figure out.
Because his picture would be everywhere at Scotiabank Arena, and it's not. If you're a
Rick
captain,
Vives isn't.
you can find it. You can find it. It
Leafs
wasn't a very celebrated era.
Captain.
There's not a lot of Rob Ramage.
Or maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I have the full list here.
Is Randy on it?
Randy is not on it.
Okay. So,
Nope.
I'm
Not
wrong.
a Leafs
Would have
captain.
been Daryl through that era.
Yeah.
Number 4, 1,096 games, Daryl Siller.
Did we not guess him?
We
You,
didn't say
you threw
him.
out his name a couple of times and you never guessed
That's
him.
my fault. You wanted to.
You did.
That's my fault.
Lanny McDonald that you got, 1,111 games. Vincent Damphousse, 1,378 games. And
he-
number one.
Underrated good career for Danfoos.
Oh, yeah.
He was amazing in Montreal.
Big time.
Yeah. Number
San Jose,
one.
too.
The Leafs draft pick with the most games played, Luke Richardson.
Oh,
17.
Wow.
he was one of those. They had like 3 first-rounders in like 94 or something like that. And they missed some huge names. But like he put together a really good career.
He did.
He just wasn't like a superstar.
Like Drake Berehowski.
yeah. Drake Berehowski, I think, was the same draft.
That's when they were drafting like tough guys.
And
like, they're
Rob
tough-
Pearson.
Rob Pearson. Oy.
out of Oshawa, and they could have
Yeah.
had like, the names are brutal.
Played from 87 is when his first year with the Leafs, drafted in 87.
I think he finished with the Senators, didn't he?
Finished with the Senators. 2008 was his last full season, played
Wow.
76 games, and the next year tried to come back, played 2 games, and then retired.
But he was with the Leafs somewhere back in there too. Like the Leafs reacquired him at one
05,
point.
06.
Yeah.
They reacquired him, played 21 games.
Just can't get enough. That Luke Richardson.
Isn't he a coach?
don't know
No,
where
Drake
he is now.
Berehowski.
Drake Berehowski.
Richardson
Yeah.
is.
I don't know.
Richardson is, but I think Berehowski is too.
Yeah.
I want to say he's a coach in like junior.
No.
Okay,
Maybe the
fine,
OHL.
fine.
Well, listen. I hope that we come back on Sunday after
With a new coach,
a Leafs back-to-back, San Jose and Montreal.
Drake Berehowski.
And I hope we have better news, and I hope that we have more news on Darnell Nurse's contract. I'm glad we got so deep with it.
Right?
Yeah. So,
Zach Werenski?
anyway, we will see you then. Don't forget, too, we're live at Regulars. We're going live next Thursday at Regulars Bar, November 7th.
Oh my God.
Is that next? That's next week. That's already next week. No, it's not. That's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks, yeah.
Against
Next week is
VGK.
Halloween.
Right. Thank you.
November 2nd, I still can't announce it yet, but we got something big cooking. And I want to shout someone out just as I checked my phone.
I want to shout out Brian again for that wonderful trivia. Thank you.
There's a guy, that's unbelievable. There's a guy who donated $2,000 to me, to Rachel's Raiders. Then he donated $1,500 and something or some odd dollars separately to get me to $30,000.
Wow.
And to get me to, oh my God, to get me to to get our team to 40,000, Nick Gould just gave me another $1,000,
Whoa.
gave you, Jesse, $458.30, and gave you, Adam, $458.30 to get us to
Wow.
$40,000. So we have $10,000 to go.
Nick,
10
thank
grand
you.
to go,
Oh my
Rachel's
God.
Raiders.
That's
Let's go.
unbelievable. Wow.
That's just unbelievable. Okay, well, listen.
That's-
Thank you.
wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
Nick Gould.
Nick Gould.
Heart of Gould. That is ridiculous.
Don't say that.
I didn't. I wasn't the one who came up
See,
with
I'm
it.
sure he's not the first person who's said that to him, though.
Yeah.
Heart of gold.
Sorry, it's almost Halloween. Nick Gould.
That's better. I like that one.
All right, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Thanks so much for listening. We love you. If you really like it, subscribe.
Not so easy, is it?
Tell all your friends,
And then can we start? Can we end how we started?
which is
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.